Tending to present here is on the more simple end of using Blender, because I'm not an expert on graphics or animation. I do this in my free time beside my job. And I saw this beautiful videos and images yesterday. I phoned my wife afterwards and I said this was so beautiful, and I should better explore my simple cases here, because they cannot compete with this, of course. On the other hand, I attended the meeting last year, and at this time I was totally new to this and just started with doing simple cases. After trying other software like Rise and so, and I found now this very useful, and I will just show a simple case what we use. My main job is marine science, and I work in ocean optics, so it's a little bit related to this. We do measurements of optical properties, underwater measurements, and relates this to satellite data. So this link between satellite data, we do radio transfer simulations with Monte Carlo techniques and other models, but without the simulation part. So we want exact numbers, what we then can relate, multispectral numbers, full spectrum, polarization, and so on, and then relate this to satellite data. So this is our main job, and because in the marine science, you have to demonstrate what you are doing, you have to educate students, and what happens underwater is always sometimes difficult to explain. So I was looking for a simple software to use images and animations, and I do a little bit video documentation of what we are doing when we do cruises with ships, and want to add on this also some complement this with some animation. So this is my basic motivation for using Blender. And today I will give you one example. This is my first real work with Blender. I have a lot of other things in the pipeline, but they are not mature to show here. So hopefully next year I can show better things. And this example, what I'm going to show you, is one instrument here. You see a so-called profiling instrument, which measures on one end, on this end, it looks vertical into the water. The down value irradiance, it means irradiance which come from the total hemisphere in several bands. And on this end, it measures the upwelling radiance in a narrow cone. The radiance. And both gives them the so-called radiance reflectance, which is a signal we have to interpret from remote sensing data, from satellite data, after atmospheric correction and so on. So we have to validate this. And these measurements, these optical measurements, are hard to perform from a ship because the ship body itself shades or reflects, and you have to operate these instruments far from the ship without any disturbance. This is the problem. And this is also here a problem to show how this instrument is operated. And this I want to show. I show first a simple video. Let's see. Yeah, the video. I cannot show it this in the PowerPoint because there's something wrong with my codec. This is codec. So I must show it from here. So this is the instrument again. This is on deck of our research vessel, and you see here these 13 irradiance collectors where the light goes in from the hemisphere, so they look upward, and these are 13 radiance collectors which look downward, so the upwelling radiance is measured with this part of the instrument, rather expensive instrument. And now it is operated from the ship, so we let it down with a cable. The cable transmits the power and the signal back to the computer, so we can monitor on the computer in real time what happens below the water. And you see now the instrument goes into the water, and it is floating a little bit. It has we must balance it very well so that it is sinking if there is no drag from these fins. And now, because the ship is moving slightly, and we have the cable, there's always an uplift because of these fins. They behave a little bit like flaps. And by this, the instrument is moving away from the ship. And then you release this cable, so that the cable falls into the water. There's no more drag, and then the instrument sinks into the water. And in this case, it measures the vertical profile of the downwinding gradients. And this cannot be visualized. You see here now, I can go with the camera, and something happens in below the water. And I wanted an animation, or at least some images, which shows now what happens to the instrument. This was my main task for doing it here. As I said, I tried this other software, but this wasn't really satisfied because I wanted special things to show in this blender. After I learned it a little bit, I mean, this took some time to come over this hill, learning it. But as soon as you are beyond this, now you see he puts the cable into the water, so it starts to sink. The instrument, operator, this is just, you made this close to the ship to make a movie. You see how slow it goes down into the water because it must go down into deeper water. You need longer integration times for these radiance collectors, otherwise the signal would be too bad. And afterwards we pull it up again, and then the instrument comes up far from the ship, sometimes 200 meters, 300 meters far from the ship, and there we get really clean measurement. Now we put it up into the on deck again. Let's go on from this, and I switch on with the So the first thing I had to do to learn was to make a model of this. So I measured the instrument and modeled it with Blender, which was, I mean, this is for normal people easy task. So I have the cylinder, the flaps are made out of the fins, they are made out of the cubes, rounding, and the collectors also they are using cones. The only thing that I had a problem was to model a tube with the thickness of the wall, and I couldn't find in the manual how to do this because the wall normally of the tube is thin. And then I got some hint in one of the tutorials that you should do this with extrude and sizing it, and then you get the wall. But it was never mentioned in the manual, so I took several hours to find out how to do this. So you see other views, and now once you have this model, then it's so easy to make these different views. These are the collectors. You see here the radiance collectors, the ballast, which have to be balanced so that the whole device is sinking slowly into the water. Now the next thing was to build an ocean environment, to show how the instrument is operated, and I looked also into several tutorials like this nice bongo thing on the web, but it was rather complicated. I found a much easier way to do this, and the thing I was doing, it was just two planes. This is a vertical plane, and I put just an image of the sky photo from this Blender textural CD on. And then an underwater plane also with some marble texture which looks quite nice, and then the surface with some caustic effects. So this was all just three planes put together, and then I put also in addition a box which should emulate the ship's body, just the stern of the ship. Very simple. So you see now the software which I used, I found this hint also in this bongo, this caustic effect generator, which is also very easy to use. So you get these nice patterns which you control by these things, different parameters, and you can adjust what you really want to have and make these series of images you put on the plane and get your effect. You see some parts of this. So I put for the sky this texture, and this was then this animation, caustic effect animation using these this generator. And this is then the surface, how it looks like the ocean. You see the waves, you see the sky. Very easy. You use just these two planes without any real waves on it. But in the animation, it looks like waves. Now I have to go to the video again. Yeah, you see here this, which is not, it's not totally realistic, but for this type of application, what we want to show how instruments are operated, it's sufficient, and it's easy, very easy to make, very fast to make. Okay. Yeah. Then I put, you have seen this from the video, so I made some images just to show the different phases, how the instruments operate. Here it goes down. Now the instrument is in the water, and you see also nice that you can cut really through the water surface and you see the underwater, which I couldn't do with any other software. I don't know why, but with Blender it's so easy to do. And really this instrument sticks here, and you see the other part below the surface. Very, very quick made and very nice. And here you see the two effects. So this goes away from the ship. This is the uplift by these fins, so that the instrument is floating on the water. I had a lot of thought to make these cable bending, and in particular in the animation. So I use this Nobs curve for this. And later on I detected I should constrain this to this. For this animation I forgot to do it. Later on I did it. Constrain it here to this one, fix it on the other side, and then I can really bend this, which was afterwards easy. Also the animation of this cable was at first not so easy for me to understand this deformation of surfaces. Now I know how it's working. Very nice thing. Here you see another view, the instrument floating away from the ship. Now, if you release the cable now, it goes down here, then the instrument starts to sink into the water far away from the ship, which is this most important thing. You see here it's going down. Also, I didn't change anything on the surface, but you see the nice sunbed automatically appears it looks really beautiful. Goes down, and then it is close to the bottom. We control the instrument from the operator room because we know which depth is the signal. Then we pull it back again, so it goes into this attitude. The fins now move in this direction, and it gets an uplift. Automatically it comes up to the surface. And then we pull it back to the ship. So again, I have to go to my animation. So you see now the instrument going down. Also the surface from below looks nice. You have to wait a little bit. Now the cable is released. You see the surface from below. The instrument is sinking down. And when we pull it back, it goes in an oblique direction, comes up to the surface, and we pull it back to the ship. So it's very simple to make this, and very effective to explain students now how this instrument works. Then I tried also in another step using this Blender to get a more photorealistic underwater world. So you see here the instrument, and I made a dome across the water. So if you if the camera looks in this direction, that you see the end of the water surface, and you get also this compression of the downwelling irradiance because of the refractive index of the water. You can't see the total sky, you see it compressed at the water surface. And I want to emulate this as well. And also, because normally the water is turbid, you cannot see very far. You can then use the fork generator and make this a little bit. So these are for the underwater scenery. I used again these caustic effects for the bottom and for the surface, and to make the world part, the camera seems more realistic. I put a little bit of marble texture in, and then you see this blue to white change, which makes the full image more realistic, like underwater. This is the setting of this, and here you see now an image. What you see underwater, these effects, and you see this little bit striping into the marble effects and also the water surface. So this, I showed it to some of my colleagues, and they said, "How did you make this underwater photo?" And they really simple to make. And you can put then some explanations, and you see it looks now really the downwelling irradiance at the water surface is compressed with the stone. Because I put a spotlight on top of this, so that only part of the surface is illuminated, the transparency is illuminated by this. Okay, then what I'm doing at the moment is to simulate also this photon flux with the particle generator and also other instruments. It's not mature, so I cannot show it at the moment. It doesn't look so nice at the moment. I have to play more with the parameters to get the photon flux into the collectors. And we have also other optical instruments where photons are reflected at the inner surfaces to measure absorption properties. And I try also now with this new deflection device of the particle generator. It works quite well, so I have to do a little bit more on this work to implement this so that we can also show how photons interact with particles and how absorption and scattering properties in the water really behave. Okay, so my conclusion, I think, once you have learned, this is a thing if you start with Blender and if you start with an empty page, then it's really hard work to get in. But after some experiments, then I think it's very fast. And for our purposes, where we do not need these real photorealistic things, but we have to explain how our instrument works. The fact that it has no ray tracing and the animation, to produce animations very fast, is a big advantage. So the next steps for us is to integrate Python, I think, where we can really then have more control of the physical behavior of the instrument. It's really very important to prove, for instance, here thinking rate and all these things can be animated in like we want to have. And then another step I want to do also is game engine for interactive learning, so that you have the physical learning and students who can play with the same, for instance, tier group, and then the things should automatically can happen. So this is the next step. So finally, I must say I'm totally enthusiastic about this Blender software, and I want to thank this is many people work in their free time, and I cannot imagine how such a project can evolve and produce such high quality software. And so I want to thank all the Blender community. For me, as just a user of Blender, it's a very nice experience to have this. Thank you.
About visualizing the data with different sensors?
So I'm just working on another thing. We have also an underwater multi-beam echo sounder to map underwater photography. And this I'm doing at the moment with the real measurements. Also use this to make the photography underwater with real data. And here I want also a simulation, it's also in the pipeline, from measurements of the downwelling gradients, the real color in different layers. For the color, you know that the red light is absorbed initially and put down. The blue light is penetrating most into the water. And it should be, we do this then with radial transfer simulation, do the simulation with 4 different layers. And then from this we can adjust the RGB values to simulate the real color in different layers of the water. Should be not very complicated. I plan to do it for this meeting, but you know, in spare time, but it's never happened. I use so much time for doing these cable things.